There are many theories about it, but there's no agreement on what it was that produced this miracle of nature.
The world we live in is full of mysteries and inexplicable phenomena. Often, even scientists have no clue how to explain their nature. A room was mysteriously sealed up for many years, and upon discovery, people found it hard to believe what they found. From alien invasions to ghosts to haunted houses, there are many of these phenomena that have thrown scientists into confusion. Join us as we uncover this room that was concealed for 40 years until the builders accidentally discovered it. The ghost-filled hotel room. The Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel is highly popular among tourists, not just because of the quality service and picturesque views from the windows, but also because of the mystical stories associated with this place. Built in 1888, the hotel is located in the Canadian province of Alberta. It has hosted many famous personalities in the past, like Marilyn Monroe and Winston Churchill. During the construction, the workers made a mistake and forgot to leave space for windows in one of the rooms. Instead of owning up, they completely bricked up the room. This room was only discovered in 1926 after a severe fire. However, the staff of the hotel reported that it was impossible to stay in this place due to the intense fear and anxiety that arose in people as soon as they crossed the threshold of the room. Most of Fairmont Banff Springs' mystical stories are unrelated to the secret room, though. The real deal is room 873. For many years, guests who stayed in this room complained about the presence of evil spirits. People spoke of handprints on mirrors, ominous laughter, a child's cries, and objects' movements. Legend has it that a couple and their young daughter were murdered in this room. But the hotel's mysteries do not end in the mystique of the room. According to guests and staff of Fairmont Banff Springs, the hotel is home to many more ghosts. For example, many people have seen the dancing spirit of a bride in a white dress. The hotel's most famous ghost is a butler whose spirit smilingly opens doors for guests. Obviously, his place is truly filled in mystical stories, but there's even more mystery surrounding an inn haunted by criminal ghosts. The haunted Skad Mountain Inn. The Ski Mountain Inn, located in the small Welsh village of Hangel Corn, has been known since the 14th century. According to historical records, it was a resting place for Welsh soldiers who participated in the uprising against King Henry IV. Now, the inn is famous for its numerous bloody and mystical stories. In the 17th century, the main floor of this building was used as a courtroom where death sentences were carried out, most often by hanging. So it's no surprise that the inn now has a notorious reputation, and many believe that the souls of criminals dwell within its walls. Visitors to Skid Mountain often witness paranormal phenomena. They hear terrible laughter, eerie music and footsteps, see wandering shadows, and feel cold drafts. Judge Jeff, who sentenced criminals within these walls in the 17th century, is the inn's most famous ghost. Other known ghosts include the priest, Henry Vore, the criminal, John Crowther, and an unknown lady in a white dress. Indeed, this place is filled with the unrestful souls of those who died there. It's no wonder that numerous paranormal-themed projects and TV shows have been filmed within the inn's walls. No one would have the courage to step into the inn due to mysterious ghosts. However, there was an even greater mystery uncovered that surrounded a city that vanished. The city that was mysteriously abandoned. India is home to many attractions, but the most mystical among them is said to be the Bangar Fort, built in the early 17th century as the residence of Monsieur Singh, the second son of Maharaja Bhagwant Das. The place flourished for several decades, and the city was bustling with trade. Craftsmanship flourished, temples and palaces were built, and all its residents were happy. But it all ended one day when the city was mysteriously deserted. There are two legends about it. According to one, it was cursed by the sage Baba Bala, who didn't like the rapid growth. The second legend says that Bangar fell after Princess Ratna rejected the love of a sorcerer. Either way, the Indian authorities believe that evil spirits and ghosts inhabit the ruins of the fort, and that's why they prohibit visiting Bangar after sunset. The locals claim that with the onset of darkness, they often hear women's screams and eerie music and smell strange odors. They all believe those who enter the fort's territory at night will never return. The claim isn't verified since the doors in Bangar are always closed after sunset. Speaking of unsolved problems, the alien speculations surrounding Uhuru Mountain and Gangkar Puensum are yet to be clarified. Speaking of unsolved problems, the alien speculations surrounding Uhuru Mountain and Gangkar Puensum are yet to be clarified. The fascinating alien mountain, Uluru, is in Central Australia in the Uluru Kata National Park. The enormous brown-orange rock in the middle of a semi-desert area looks amazing. It is 348 meters in height, 3.5 kilometers in length, and 3 kilometers in width. This rock is very old, dating back about 680 million years. Residents consider Uluru to be a sacred rock. In their opinion, it once served as the home of spirits. The Aboriginal people consider it their duty to protect this territory. So in 2019, the rock was shut to visitors, and in 2020, its 3D panorama was removed from the Google service. Admittedly, this rock is located in the middle of a semi-desert area and seems strange. But where could it have come from? This territory has only sometimes been as it is in modern times. About 550 million years ago, there were still many mountains there. Over time, they were destroyed under the influence of natural forces, but Uluru sometimes withstood these tests and survived. Mountaineers strive to conquer as many of the world's peaks as possible. The highest among them is, of course, Everest. However, among the highest mountains are those whose summits have yet to be reached by man, like the Gangkar Puensum in Bhutan, on the border with China. Its 7,570 meters above sea level make it the 40th highest peak in the world. It is home to many secrets. For a long time, it was believed that Gangkar Puensum could disappear from the landscape, a phenomenon noted by many expedition participants. Even today, the mountain remains a source of dispute between China and Bhutan over whose territory it belongs to. During ascents in 1994, Bhutan once again prohibited attempts to conquer the Gangkar Plenum and banned any expedition at its base. Consequently, the mountain's mystery has intrigued people who believe that its name can be translated as the Peak of the Three. Spiritual brothers indicate that 3 alien races live on its summit. They claim eyewitnesses often see objects resembling alien spacecrafts and dancing lights there. While this is all very intriguing, let's remember that Buddhism is practiced in Bhutan. According to this religion, many mountains are considered sacred abodes of spirits which humans cannot disturb. This is precisely why the state authorities have restricted access to Peak. This mountain has sparked wild speculations that may still be unfounded, but what about an entire forest where all the trees are eerily bent? The unexplainable crooked forest. Nature may be beautiful, but it is also quite unpredictable, such that even a forest can look completely different from what we're used to. One good example of this is the Crooked Forest, located near the town of Grafino in Poland. The grove consists exclusively of trees that look like someone deliberately bent them. This unusual forest covers an area of about 1.5 hectares and contains no less than 400 bent pines. The astonishing grove attracts tourists from all corners of the world and, of course, sparks interest among scientists. However, the cause of the anomaly in this forest has not been determined. Interestingly, the pine saplings initially grow like normal upright trees, but once the trunks reach about 30 centimeters, they abruptly change their growth direction to parallel the ground surface. After which, curving smoothly, the trunks reach upwards towards the sun again. Thus, the shape of the trees begins to resemble a hook, and as was mentioned earlier, the exact cause of this phenomenon is unknown. However, scientists have several hypotheses about it. Some experts lean towards the theory that the trees have such a shape because someone has conducted experimental cultivation of pines, managing to change the direction of the tree's growth. Most scientists, however, believe that the forest grows on a geopathic site, meaning that the trees have a kind of mutation caused by the negative influence of the soil. Regardless of the anomaly's cause, the crooked forest is recognized as a natural monument and protected by the Polish government. While scientists are still trying to understand the mystery behind the tree's shape, they stumbled into something even more confusing: a canyon under a sheet of ice. The Grand Canyon is not the biggest. According to conspiracy theorists, some alien beings live under thick layers of ice. By choosing such land areas, they have protected themselves from human invasion. Naturally, it's hard to believe such things, but recent scientific discoveries have confirmed that many amazing objects are hidden under the ice. In 2013, scientists from the University of Bristol and NASA explored Greenland using radars and other technologies. Thanks to modern methods, they looked under an ice sheet about 3,000 meters thick, and what the researchers found became a global sensation: technologies. It turns out that the largest canyon in the world is not the Grand Canyon, but one hidden under the ice of Greenland. It stretches 740 kilometers from the highest point of central Greenland to the Petermann Glacier on the northwest coast and is at least 10 kilometers wide. Just imagine the scale of this canyon. Scientists believe it formed about 4 million years ago, even before Greenland was covered with ice. It was likely part of a gigantic river system in the past. If Greenland Canyon is not thought-provoking enough, imagine a single person building a white castle alone. Coral Castle built by a single person. There's a coral castle near the city of Homestead in Florida, and those who have visited it at least once can attest to its beauty. But the real attraction is not its beauty, but its history. The castle was built in 1951, supposedly by a single man, Edward Leeds Colon. He began working on his creation in 1920 after his fiancée left him the day before their wedding. It is presumed that Edward was so devastated by the betrayal that he decided to rid himself of this feeling through work. He worked on the construction after sunset. It should be noted here that the coral castle is made of megaliths, some weighing up to 30 tons, which Edward personally transported from the coast of the Gulf of Mexico. One might wonder how he could do this alone, but there's no answer. Many conspiracy theorists do not believe that Edward could transport such huge stone slabs and stack them on top of each other without any assistance. Therefore, they speculated that man had contact with other civilizations that helped him with the construction. Edward never revealed the secrets of his construction. However, he once claimed that he had discovered the secret of ancient civilizations, namely how to lift stones weighing several tons with primitive tools that helped him build the Coral Castle. It is still doubtful how the Coral Castle was built, but scientists have yet to explain how or why ancient sculptures depicting human faces were built. The Moai, contact with aliens. The Moai are well-known monolithic sculptures depicting various human faces. These amazing sculptures are located on Easter Island, Chile. It is believed that the island was discovered by Polynesians in 1200 AD. These people found ways to turn an uninhabited island into a thriving and culturally developed place, and the Moai are proof of this. There are 887 such statues on the island, each of which is unique. Their height varies from 3 to 5 meters, and they weigh an average of 5 tons. The process of creating the Moai was very labor-intensive, involving processing and transporting stones. How exactly the Polynesians moved these monoliths remains unknown to this day. Residents still believe that the Moai statues harbor the ancient power of their ancestors, which helps the island remain an ideal place to live. Ethologists, however, believe that these monoliths are evidence of Polynesian contact with extraterrestrial races. Just as these monolithic structures are associated with alien contact, one African structure was said to be a medium for alien surveillance of the Earth, the alien eye of the Sahara Desert. The Sahara is the largest sand desert in the world, covering over 8.5 million square kilometers. You're mistaken if you think nothing is interesting there except endless sand. The Sahara holds many mysteries, one of which is known as the Eye of the Sahara, or Richat. About 50 kilometers in diameter, this geological formation looks like someone's eye or the rings of a child's pyramid toy. From a bird's eye, the Eye of the Sahara is visible from space and has long served as a landmark for astronauts in orbit. The remarkable shape of the Richat has been the subject of many debates. Some people claim that it is not a geological formation, but a sign through which aliens communicate their surveillance of our planet. In reality, our brain always tries to draw analogies with familiar things when seeing new objects, and a shape resembling an eye can make one think of surveillance. However, scientists are confident that aliens had no part in creating the Eye of the Sahara. They believe that rot formed between the late Proterozoic and Ordovician periods. The oldest ring is estimated to be about 500 million years old. Scientists think the structure formed due to erosion. However, when a section of the Earth's crust was uplifted, this hypothesis remained unproven, just like the theory that aliens were involved in creating the Eye of the Sahara. As you can see, sometimes scientists cannot unravel the mysteries of certain objects on our planet. Science is impressive, but just as it could not explain the Eye of the Sahara, it is also unable to explain the Nazca Lines in Peru. The Nazca Lines remain incomprehensible. Geoglyphs are among the most discussed topics among conspiracy theory enthusiasts. These ground images are truly impressive in their scale and perfect proportions. Perhaps the most famous among them are the Nazca Lines. Located on the Nazca Plateau in southern Peru, this plateau stretches over 50 kilometers. It features 143 images of animals and insects, 13,000 lines and stripes, and at least 700 geometric figures. The Nazca Lines have become the subject of study not only for conspiracy theorists, but also for scientists. For example, the German researcher Maria Reich dedicated the majority of her life to studying this region and succeeded in getting the Nazca Lines recognized as a World Heritage Site. So, who were their creators? Archaeologists associate these ground images with the Nas culture, whose representatives inhabited this territory in the first 6 centuries of our era. To create the necessary images, these people cleared stony land areas and arranged stones along specific contours. However, it remains unknown why. Nas created these images. Experts suggest that they might have been conducting some sort of ritual to worship their gods or observe the stars. Since science cannot tell us how Stonehenge was built, it has been attributed to magic, and Merlin is said to have built it. The Stonehenge of the legendary Merlin. One of the world's most famous ancient architectural monuments, Stonehenge dates back to the Stone Age. However, despite its age, it continues to remain a mystery. Scientists still need to determine who built this structure and for what purpose. Stonehenge is located in Wiltshire, England. It consists of a circle of megaliths. These stones reach more than 4 meters in height and over 2 meters in width. The weight of the largest megaliths is about 25 tons. On top of them are lentil stones over 3 meters in length. This construction truly looks monumental. Let's remember that people began building Stonehenge during the Neolithic era, but how could people move and stack such enormous stones on top of each other? This question has puzzled scientists for many years. According to legend, Stonehenge was built by the wizard Merlin whom the giants assisted. Scientists have their theories, believing that local tribes or ancient Romans who found a way to move heavy stones using primitive tools and animals created this structure. The purpose of Stonehenge's construction also remains to be determined. It is believed to have served as an altar, as indicated by human remains discovered by archaeologists at the site. Unfortunately, there are no records of Stonehenge's construction and use. The place continues to be one of the most mysterious in the world. But Stonehenge is not the only ancient structure shrouded in mystery. The tower created by elemental spirits. In the valley of the Bell River in the American state of Wyoming lies a fantastic natural monument known as Devil's Tower. This unusual monolith impresses with its beauty and grandeur. Its height is 1,558 meters above sea level, and its total area is just under 5.5 square kilometers. Several hundred tourists worldwide visit the Belforch River Valley annually to admire this unique attraction. This place is indeed very popular. However, Devil's Tower is also shrouded in numerous mystical stories about its origin. According to one legend of the indigenous people, the mountain appeared in this place after a bear attacked several girls returning home from the river's coast. The young maidens prayed for help from the gods, who took pity on them and raised a piece of land to a great height, so the wild beast no longer posed a threat. Native Americans also consider the Devil's Tower a sacred place. In their view, the elevation was created by a spirit of the elements living on its summit. When angered, the spirit would cause a terrible storm, but when people managed to gain its favor, the spirit would send rain to relieve the land from drought. Scientists, however, provide a different explanation for the origin of Devil's Tower. About 200 million years ago, the state's territory was an ocean. Due to high seismic activity, a powerful lava eruption solidified underwater. Gradually, the landscape of this area changed. When the water receded, this natural monument made from volcanic rock was left in an open semi-desert. Speaking of untraceable origins, a military base in the US is probably the most mysterious. Could they have dealt with aliens? The US' most popular and yet secretive military base, Area 51, is one of the USAF's most secretive and mysterious military bases. Even the country's authorities denied its existence until 2013. Though the test site was built in 1955, it is believed that it was created to establish contact with aliens and further study their interactions. Public interest in this base was sparked after physicist Bob Lazar claimed in 1989 that he had participated in developing many tools for communicating with extraterrestrials and had personal contact with one of them. In 2015, strange lights were spotted over Area 51, and other airbase employees noted other unexplained anomalies in the sky above this test site. All this indicates a direct connection between the American government and aliens. However, after acknowledging the existence of Area 51, the authorities officially stated that the test site is used for developing modern experimental aircraft, and such secrecy helps prevent information leakage about the project. In terms of secrets, perhaps only a few structures in England would beat the Tower of London, which has great untold secrets. Secrets of the Great Tower of London. The Tower of London is a very famous London landmark. This place is said to be filled with dreadful secrets. Within the grounds of the Tower of London lies a tower prison originally intended for the nobility and high-ranking individuals. The first prisoner was confined in the tower in 1190. Among the notable prisoners were King John II of France and King James the Mullen of Scotland. Besides serving as a place of confinement, executions and murders also took place within the tower. The most mysterious story about the tower prison was the disappearance of the two princes in the tower, 12-year-old Edward V and 10-year-old Richard of York. The boys were the sons of English King Edward the Muffin and Elizabeth Woodville. Their disappearance occurred in 1483, shortly after their father's passing. It is believed that their uncle, Richard of Gloucester, who was appointed Lord Protector of Edward V, was involved in this tragedy. The uncle was supposed to assist the boy in governing until he came of age. Gloucester began his assistance by allegedly placing both princes in the Tower for their safety. After that, Edward V's coronation was continuously postponed, and eventually the boys mysteriously vanished, with Gloucester becoming the king. Only in 1674, during repair works in the Tower, were the remains of 2 children found. The reigning king at the time, Charles II, immediately recognized to whom they belonged and ordered the boys to be ceremoniously buried in Westminster Abbey under the names Edward Baptiste and Richard of York. Secrets abound regarding great structures, but the Devil's Bridge might differ from what you think it is. The Devil's Bridge. Deceptive realities. Devil's Bridge is one of Germany's most picturesque attractions, despite its off-putting name. Lush trees and the crystal-clear waters of Lake Rots surround it. This structure is located in a dendrological park in the city of Dublin. Its history began in 1844, when Friedrich Hermann Roschke decided to create an English-style park on the lake's territory, complete with avenues, artificial grottos, rocks, and a stone bridge. For his vision, he had to import basalt slabs from Switzerland, which became the main material used to construct the Devil's Bridge. The bridge turned out to be truly impressive. When viewed with its reflection in the water, it forms an almost perfect circle. Astonishingly, the architect of this arched structure remains unknown to this day. The perfect geometric shape and artificially created stone teeth framing the bridge led people to speculate that the architect might have been the devil himself. Whoever the author of this structure was, it must be acknowledged that the bridge looks attractive. Although it is closed to visitors, many adventurers are ready to trespass for the sake of spectacular photographs. The Devil's Bridge might not be what you think, but what about a cemetery inhabited by vampires? The spooky Highgate Cemetery. A cemetery reminds us of how fleeting and vulnerable our lives are. Some of them's silence looks so beautiful that anyone who visits feels a sense of fear. One such place is Highgate Cemetery, located in North London. It was opened in 1839 and quickly became popular among the wealthy locals at the time. The Gothic art trend was still prevalent, associated with a deep philosophy of life and death. Therefore, Highgate Cemetery boasts an incredible number of Gothic crosses and statues. Visitors are attracted not only by the architecture of the monuments, but also by numerous stories related to ghosts and vampires. It is believed that vampires resided on its grounds, hiding in the most luxurious graves. Moreover, the fact that Bram Stoker worked on his famous novel Dracula in this place added to the cemetery's popularity. Fire and water are natural enemies of each other, but these natural enemies seem to have made peace in New York. Eternal Flame Falls, the mixture of water and fire. In Chestnut Ridge Park, located near the city of Buffalo, New York, lies a unique place where the elements of fire and water intertwine. If you think such a thing is impossible, just look at these shots. You'll agree it looks fantastic. For a long time, it was believed that the source of the eternal flame was natural gas seeping through the rock and igniting upon contact with an ancient heated shale. Even when approaching the waterfall, a distinctive gas smell is perceptible. However, things are more complex than they seem. According to the local indigenous people's version, their ancestors, the great shamans, ignited this flame long ago. However, scientists only recently began to believe in such a legend in 2013, when they had to acknowledge that the shells in the rock did not possess sufficient temperature to ignite the gas. This means that science does not know why this flame burns, especially under a waterfall whose droplets could extinguish it. Thus, Eternal Flame Falls can confidently be called one of the most unique places in our world. What are your thoughts about these mysterious structures and places that even science has no answer to? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment to see more videos like these.